Cue the Q21 Saga.
Q21 Saga. What?
The Quartzsite. Our story. Exclusive edition.
Why didn't we stay for 2 weeks like we had planned?
Well, let's go back to on our way to Quartzsite. We were still looking for a nursing contract, and tell us how that came about.
So we had at least 3 or 4 different applications out, and there was one that looked really good in Phoenix. And so on Thursday morning, I was talking to my recruiter, and mind you, we were like at a rest stop or something like that. Anyway, she was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just waiting for that contract to call me back with an offer. You know, that hospital looks like a great contract. Looks like you might get it. And we're just waiting." But in the meantime, I found this other contract. It's a small hospital, a little hospital out south of Tucson. Do you want me to put you in for it since we still don't have an offer yet? And I'm like, well, you know, I don't have an offer yet, so sure, on the whim that maybe I won't get this other job.
And right now, we've really been at the time where if we're wanting to get a contract, we're putting in for most things, even if we know we're probably not going to get it.
Or, maybe we don't really necessarily want that job, but it's worth trying.
Yeah.
And so that was Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, I get a phone call, and I wasn't sure. I was not sure what this was about. And it was an interview for that job that we had just put in that morning.
And this whole time, we are driving basically from Athens, Texas to Quartzsite with X Marks the Spot and Never Too Late to RV, our friends, Roger and Tina. And so we were in this caravan going along, and
it was laundry day, and I had stopped
to
do laundry in a little town of Benson. So we were in Arizona at that point.
Yeah.
Laundry was done. We'd done our little bit of shopping, and we were in the grocery store when I got this call. And Hope was shopping, so I was like, I have to go. I went back to the car, and she and Emma continued shopping. And so I did my best on the interview. I kind of felt a little like flustered because of like the place that the call had been made to me, and the fact
inopportune time.
Well, and the fact that I was tired, and it was the end of a long day, and I wasn't prepared really to do this interview. And the job didn't sound necessarily like something I was interested in. But more on that maybe in the weeks to come.
Yeah.
So I didn't think anything of it. I tried texting my recruiter. She actually didn't get the text. The text was down. So Friday morning, it was our final leg.
Yeah.
Right? And we're driving to Quartzsite. We stopped at a rest stop, and I talked to it was like en route while we were driving.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my recruiter, and she's like, okay, I have good news and I have bad news. And I said, okay. Bad news, the job in Phoenix, they chose someone else. And I was like, okay. She said, the good news is that other contract, they've offered. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I said, did you not get my text? They interviewed me. And she's like, no. I was shocked that they had like not even, that was a pretty funny story. But so put it in Thursday morning, interviewed Thursday afternoon, and by Friday morning, I had an offer.
Yep.
So Friday at lunchtime, we had a discussion, and we talked about it and looked at the area, and we decided to go for it.
Yeah. So it wasn't the highest paying contract of what we were looking at, but holy cow, it's a lot better than
the last one.
The last contract, or even Reno, which we thought was a really good contract, it still wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So
it's good. Anyway.
Yeah.
I signed the contract, and it was signed for February 1st. So we would be starting the job on February 1st.
Yeah.
So we made it to Quartzsite same day.
Same day, got to Quartzsite, had a contract. We're like, life is good. 2 weeks.
Relax. Couple of days to get to Tucson, so it's just south of Tucson.
Yeah, and we're like, well, we got this. This is great. Let's see if we can drum up some business for my new business. And, you know, we got a couple jobs. I think about 3.
Yeah, I'm sure you will talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit further in the live stream.
So Wednesday, I needed some finalization. There were things that I was still working on. You know, as soon as you get that contract, you got to get a bunch of pieces of stuff done, so that you prove that you're going to be a safe person. So drug screening and this and that.
And they were telling you it was a COVID unit.
Yes.
And so we're like, we're planning on boondocking. COVID, boondocking, that's not going to work.
So I did end up calling the manager and having a conversation with her. But in the process, I found out that she was expecting me on Monday, the 25th.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my contract that I signed said February 1st. Big difference. So,
and they were like, that's a problem.
In communicating back and forth with my recruiter, and my recruiter talking to the hospital's agency that they work through, and me talking to the new manager, they were like, look, we had a contract fall through. A nurse quit and left, and has left them in the lurch for 3 weeks, and they desperately need me now. And they have all of the orientation all planned out already, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And we were like, where's the $10,000 bonus? But that didn't happen.
So I went ahead and signed on Wednesday before a week and a half ago now. I signed this new contract starting on Monday, which meant we had Thursday basically to finish up whatever we were doing in Quartzsite, and we left Friday.
Yeah.
And we made it here to Tucson on Saturday.
We met some fun friends who we haven't seen in almost a year, but you're going to have to wait for that video to come out to find out who we met.
Yeah.
I got to try something. We got a ton of video content from Quartzsite and on our way to Tucson. And
I mean, back and between all the traveling that we've done, it's been awesome fun. You guys, I had a job in basically a week and a half.
Yeah.
No, it was less than 2 weeks from me applying to me starting.
When there was even some uncertainties, like they sent, like your compliance officer sent you, this is what you need to do, and we're like, the majority of that list, I think we've already done within the last year. And
some of the things are expiring in February, and so she had it like, gung-ho, I want you to do all these things, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of Quartzsite. I can't just go to Phoenix twice. I can't do that.
That's 8 hours of driving.
I had to do one thing for compliance to get me ready for the job, and then this month, February, I have to recertify in CPR and go do the test for tuberculosis, and there's something else I feel like I'm missing.
But we're here for 3 months.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Right. No. I'll keep in compliance to keep the job. I will. Yeah. I always have. So I'm working at a little hospital just south of Phoenix. Sorry, not Phoenix. Tucson. There's my badge. Ain't I purty? Ain't I purty?
She likes the picture on that one.
I do. I look good. I love it. And so on the viewing of this live stream, I am working my first shift all by myself. Am I scared?
Yeah. Well, and do you want to explain what you'll be doing on that floor?
Sure. When I was interviewed, it was a COVID unit.
Yeah.
And by the time I started orientation, they had made it completely clean so that they could start taking regular medical patients and surgical patients. Yeah. Because this hospital is brand new. And I mean, we still hear the construction workers upstairs, like working on the upstairs.
We drove by the hospital when we were looking at it, and we're like, there's a window out like the
on
second
the
story,
second story.
there's a full-on huge
with
window.
a hose or something hanging
Hose
down
or
out
rope
of it.
or something hanging down.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how many ER beds. I think there's like 12 or more. 18 beds in the unit, and they have 2 OR suites. Very small PACU / yeah. Anyway, so I am happy. I won't be caring for COVID as of yet. There might be 1 or 2 that accidentally gets in there.
It's not intentional.
Not intentional at this point. But what's crazy is they haven't had enough patients to increase their staffing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they could even find staffing at this point. So they're capping us at 4, and there is no charge nurse. There is no case manager.
She is the whole shebang.
I'm running inpatient.
She's running a floor, basically.
So today I had half a day of orientation. Today meaning Friday.
Yeah.
And I was learning how to admit a patient. Well, I learned how to admit a patient fully. I had a couple of chances to do that. I hadn't discharged a patient, so we went through discharge and how to, print that paperwork out and what to do and how to. I'm having to learn how to break down the folders and where to put it, and if the patient has case management orders, like how to do that and make the calls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't do the charge nurse.
But with them having a max of 4 patients, basically, there's times where you might have 1, maybe 2 patients you're dealing with. Whereas there's some hospitals you're like, 5 or 6 at all times. But then with how fast they were coming in and going out, you were sometimes dealing with 12 to plus patients. It seemed like you were 10 to 12 patients.
The max I've ever cared for in a 12-hour shift is 11. I have never hit 12 yet.
Okay. No. So 11 patients during a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
And this is like 1 to 2. We're like...
Yeah, I've been orienting 1 to 1 or 1 to 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, admissions take time, but I've got to make my pace faster because, things happen and you have to answer the phones and you have to answer the questions and you have to fax the papers and you have to, there's so many other little things that you would normally have a HUC or charge nurse doing for you so you could focus on your patients and your charting. So.
But, I mean, you're really learning the entire... I mean, you know the process beforehand, but you're learning how to do it completely.
I'm learning how to do all the pieces that I haven't done because I've not charged before.
Yeah.
So, my friend Hope Marks of X Marks the Spot.
I know you're watching.
She's like, that's a cush job. I would take that job. I'm like, well, you didn't apply for it. I did.
You could have applied, Hope. Instead, you have to work at the thing.
Instead, she's working at the thing. If you guys are going through southern Arizona and
I-10.
passing Bolin's,
the
thing, Bolin's rest stop, Bolin's.
It's a travel center.
You'll see all the billboards for miles beforehand. What is the thing?
We actually found out that there are some of the Bolin's travel stops have RV spots.
Yeah, and they're pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, we'll show you that on our adventure to Quartzsite, which will probably come out, I'm thinking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're doing a really fun video, and I'll talk about once I go back live again.
Well then, why don't we just go back live? You guys, it was so great to share this little story with you. I'm sorry I'm missing the whole live stream. But I love y'all. I love you, D-Fam.
Maybe she'll pop in during the live stream for a quick second saying,
we'll see.
I'm here.
We'll see how crazy busy I am.
All right. Back to the live stream.